With the finale of Kenobi and a divided fanbase, why not return to the galaxy far, far away and talk about #1 best dad?
I am your father.
Now, one cannot delve into Vader without first delving into his past. Just to be short, Anakin Skywalker was a powerful and potent Jedi, but due to the rigid but obsolete short-sightedness of the Jedi Order,
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What?
alongside the already deteriorating state of democracy rampant in the Republic,
Hundreds of senators are now under the influence of a Sith Lord called Darth Sidious.
it made the perfect breeding ground for the Phantom Menace to orchestrate a civil war where he could persuade the masses to vote and support in favor of a populist with such populistic policy, while simultaneously convincing the people to forsake their oh-so-precious freedom, where Palpatine could centralize the power accumulated over his period, with the first nail in the coffin being in the form of
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire for a safe and secure society.
with this line.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
There was something that jumped over my head. What was it? Alright, the Chosen One! Where the archaic Jedi Order gave way to the said populace grooming the Chosen One, with him ultimately betraying the Order alongside the Force love interest, in which culminates in the promising young man being forever trapped in a state of slavery he was born in, with the death of Anakin Skywalker and the birth of Darth Vader, where the galaxy would tremble beforehand, with of course a perfect ending. Now getting back to the figure, this iteration of Darth Vader by Hasbro may be considered the best rendition of Vader yet, as the mask is beautifully rendered. The likeness of the lens, mouthpiece, and helmet toppiece are perfectly balanced, as all things should be. The menacing cybernetic aesthetics just oozes fear to the enemies of the Empire. The only drawback that I have regarding the figure is the paint job. While fabulous with the shiny black Vader is portrayed as, possesses subpar aspects when observed closely. A trait that is unlikely to occur with Japanese releases, that might offset some viewers. Closely examining the chest piece, which the controls for the artificial lungs that Vader possesses, makes it a crucial component for Vader to protect, as if left unprotected or sustained damage, leaves Vader in a state of pain. And it is intricately portrayed as each individual component is beautifully painted without any Moving down, you can clearly observe an approach that differs radically from the Japanese counterpart. When viewing side by side with the SH Figuarts Vader, it is clear to every observer that the Americans abided to screen accuracy above everything else, as they have chosen to replicate one of their greatest icons with cloth, able to accurately portray the intricate costume depicted in the film. While the materials utilized for a specific figure may differ for each corporation alongside the product line, the Japanese release of Star Wars figures by Bandai through the SHF line usually disregarded the use of cloth and instead focused on portraying such aspects through the use of good old plastic. While such materials do bring out a solid and particular pose, it's at the cost of articulation and a man-child like myself, playability. The rudimentary forms that are presented throughout the product line, which act as a dual-sided blade, as due to the limited variety of hands that accompany the figure, resulting in the limitation of what Vader is able to pull off. But on the contrary, the limited diversity of hands are capable to fully commit to his purpose. If the hand wants to hold a lightsaber, it holds it. On the other hand, if you place a lightsaber on the SHF, it's not like I want to hold anything. Baka! A force choking hand on the other side that can also act as a lightsaber wielding hand fully works. fulfilling its main purpose as a figure that can be played with. When it comes to the likes of Star Wars Black Series, they happen to be taller than your regular Japanese counterparts. Here's Darth Vader next to Gunpla, Monster Arts, Figma, and Mr. Unlimited Power himself. When discussing the topic of articulation, from my previous reviews, all of the figures had a great range of articulation, but one must acknowledge the fact that they were Japanese figures where craftsmanship is turned to the nth degree. However, with Hasbro being an American company, they lacked such skills and are incapable of producing figures with such range of motion. If one has been accustomed to Japanese figures, then transitioning to Vader over here, one will instantly recognize how stiff and immobile the figure is. The head is pretty good. The body, well, what is this? Is that movement? Shoulders. Stiff AF. Elbows. Of course 90 degrees. Hands. They're flexible enough. Waist. They can turn, but they hardly turn, let's just say that. The split. It's decent for a mechanical man, but if it was a fully organic individual,
failure.
Knees are also very limited, and the feet are pretty flexible to my surprise. As portrayed in my previous videos, Japanese figures are usually accompanied by an assortment of accessories of varying degrees. But when looking at what comes with Vader here, this is it. Vader's iconic crimson lightsaber that represents the Dark Lord's association with the dark side. You're striking me down because I'm black, isn't it? 사랑해. 나도 사랑해. 야 임마! 네 이복 동생이야! 어머니, 괜찮습니다. 우리는 같은 민족으로 일제를 향해 싸워야 됩니다. 君は絶対好きじゃない。でも俺たちは兄弟だ。何？俺はどこにですか？
今お客様の頭の中で卑猥な恥ずかしめを受けています。姉様が大変だわ。今お客様の頭の中で恥辱の限りを受けているのよ、レムが。
やばい。これは異世界が。No wonder TV's dead. And if you desire, you can remove the Crimson Blaze so that Vader can place his sturdy lightsaber on his belt for
aggressive negotiations.
But besides the Crimson Lightsaber, there's nothing else. This is the travesty of American figures, as they don't give much. But considering the price these figures were sold at, pretty reasonable. Hasbro's iteration of the iconic Darth Vader proves to be a great portrayal, as they have mastered the technique and art regarding the sculpt and the different assortments of texture and materials utilized to bring forth the Dark Lord of the Sith himself. The biggest drawback is the semi-blotched paint job, a travesty in Japanese standards, alongside the limited articulation, but considering the point of origin, it isn't a significant factor. However, such factors do degrade the overall value of the figure. However, even with such predicaments, it stands out as one of the best iterations of Darth Vader in the current market right now. And I would say, buy it. Buy him now! If you're interested or are planning on purchasing the set figure, you're gonna have to offer aftermarket costs, but with a new iteration of Vader planned for release, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Or to be exact, Vader Sim.